What's going on, everybody? It is Madman Plant or Stefan, however you want to call me. And today we are back here with another Vindec EU episode. Now, before we get started, I do want to let everybody know that if you are in the Fredericksburg or Stafford area or even Spotsylvania, Northern Virginia, we have a meetup this Friday for Honey on Duty, where we are making honeygrams. And these are letters designed for general public and hospice children. Honey's going to do a meet and greet. She's going to share her story. We got some Q&A. We got a kindness wall, cuddle corner, you name it. It's going to be an awesome experience. So if you wanted to spend more time with Honey, now is your chance. Also, next week on Wednesday, the 20th, we have a live panel at Always Flavored for another Vindec EU Healing the Hustle. So it's going to be another great conversation full of transparency, truth, and a lot of things that maybe you didn't know about certain people. But we got a great panel of 5 people that are really going to tune in, show up, and really go as deep as their truth allows them to do. So tonight, welcome to Vindec EU, where healing isn't a destination, it's a declaration. Each week, we speak to real people navigating trauma, burnout, and purpose, because behind every business or person, brand, or hustle is a human being. Tonight, we are diving into mental health side of autism and breaking the stigma, because none of us are doing this alone, even when we feel like we are. So tonight we have Sam Mitchell, who's a motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and host of an award-winning Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast. He joins us tonight to share his story, from interviewing icons like Dr. Temple Grandin, WWE Mick, Foley, and NASCAR driver Armani Williams, to delivering a TED Talk and building his own nonprofit. Sam is proving that autism is not a limitation. So let's bring him on the show. What is going on, my good sir? How are you?
Hey, buddy. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. Welcome to Vindec EU. So, one thing that I really like about you already here is autism. My son has autism. I've worked with autism for a very, very long time. And I also, like you, like to break the stigma. And that's part of what Smoke Busters and how this platform all got created. So where do you want to start?
Well, it depends on where you want to start, buddy. I'm very laid back, as you can tell.
I know maybe I should take a couple more like sleeping pills or something. I'm just like ready to go. But pretty much, let's introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll dive in. We'll pick a topic that feels healthy to both of us.
Okay, cool. So what I do is I run a podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. It's a podcast about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Through the podcast, it's grown so much. I developed sponsors, a board of 6. I'm an event planner in Indianapolis, where I'm from. I also do motivational speaking services. I've spoken in places like Orlando in Canada. I also have a commercial out, like a video and audio commercial, but the video commercial is on YouTube. Just Google in Autism Rocks and Rolls. And I got nice. This because I always butcher this. I'm a new online producer. Nope, I'm a producer of an online children. I'm a producer of an online children's television show called The Gina Mitchell Show.
Very cool. Okay.
That show is like Bill Nye the Science Guy, and instead of with science, it's with autism.
I like that a lot. So what would you say the burning internal flame in you, where does this all come from? Like, where did you get so passionate?
I think the passion turned out of pissiness because I got fed up with the way people treated me as a society. Throughout my life, I was bullied, excluded, and dealt with all the stereotypes that I'm sure you're aware of because you worked in autism, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the passion came out of. And it really started after just years of dealing with it. At 16 years old, I decided to change my life and quit being a people pleaser. Because
yes.
After people pleasing, it didn't work. Oh, hey, Grandma. You want to be in the shot?
Hi, Grandma. She wants to tell her story. We'll have her next week.
She's right here.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, you're fine. I'm just messing with you. But anyway,
that's awesome.
What I was trying to say is, after 16 years of people pleasing, during my sophomore year, I decided to stop being a people pleaser and change my life around. I gained more self-confidence, started a podcast, clearly. that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born, but it turned my life for the better. I felt better about myself mentally because my mental health wasn't all there for 15 years, but then it did.
So with that, you said your mental health wasn't there for about 15 years. Where do you think it was, and what were you dealing with?
La La Land. That answers your question, but I would say it was in an abyss because I was just confused at the world. I didn't understand society, the way it operated, because I think you can understand in a brain with autism, it operates in a certain way, but in other ways, it doesn't make sense for someone who isn't on the spectrum.
Yes. So
and
what would you
dealing with that was just very aggravating, and it made me lost.
Like lost, like you didn't know your place and purpose in the world, or you just felt like you couldn't communicate?
But just lost as of not understanding the social cues, lost in not understanding how to calm down anxiety or how to calm down anger, because instead of cooling off, I'd rather flip a table. If that makes sense.
Maybe you should have gone into WWE.
What?
Said maybe you should have gotten into WWE.
You're like,
hey, I can flip a table.
Hey, maybe instead I'd rather do a steel chair shot or something.
That, or either do it during the WWE or during dinner, because you can flip tables as a waiter, or you can flip tables as a wrestler.
There you go.
Both with W's.
There you go.
So going into it, what do you think, in your case, is the hardest boundary for somebody that doesn't have autism to understand the frustrations of autism?
I think the hardest boundary is, there's a lot of them for sure, but I think one that I can think of off the top of my head is meltdowns, because those people, you go to Walmart, right? You see a child throw a tantrum because he didn't get a lollipop. And that's some cases. I'm not going to lie. That's a lot of 3-year-olds, and that could be some. But that's not it all the time.
Yeah.
They start fine, but then they go into Walmart and there's a temperature change in the freezer aisle. And because of that change, wham, 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 it's a meltdown.
Interesting. Now, with that being said,
they don't like being cold.
You don't like being cold. Neither do I, believe me. Your ribs start hurting, and then it gets worse, and then goes all the way, and you're like, oh, God, I can't move.
Yeah, I don't like the cold either. We're in summer right now, and I'm hoping it can stay as hot as it can as long as possible.
Oh, I don't know. I've never been in a climate where it's summer during Christmas, so I don't know how I would think about that. It's like, man.
I would do it.
So
we've had some green Christmases in Indiana. It just wasn't 90 degrees. It was more of 32.
Now you seem on, like my son, who's on the high spectrum of functioning of autism, right?
Yep.
So with that being said, how do you, in your mind, know that you're different?
Well, I know that because of just, I think through life itself. I mean, I think as kids, parents sometimes underestimate children and they're not observing it. The kids are smart. They see and observe everything.
Yes.
And I could see that I was very different, but I didn't know why.
Exactly.
In my brain, I didn't know I was on the spectrum. I thought, why is anyone doing this? This is the right way. That's not the right way. This is stupid. Well, then I read a book at 6 years old. I'm like, oh, okay. Now this makes sense. This is why I'm different. It was more of a eureka moment when I was told at 6 years old, and I could continue on with it. And I tried doing it everybody's way, but everybody's way still wasn't enough. So I thought, then, okay, screw this. My life is my life. It's my way. To hell with pretty much all of you.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Now, have you ever gone through bouts of like depression or anxiety based on just other people's opinions, or is it something deeper? And
the anxiety, I'm the walking definition of it, but it's not on people's opinions. It's just plans happening, or if they're going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we do events annually, and we just had a poker run out that we had, but we had to have nice weather for the poker run to have a good turnout. Well, sometimes I get anxious that we won't have a good turnout because of the rain.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because motorcycles don't like riding in the rain. Some don't mind it, but the most common biker will not do it.
Yeah, your average bar hopper is probably not going to ride in the rain. I was a year-round rider myself in motorcycles, so I did not mind. I would ride when it was snow on the ground, when it was hot out. But yeah, no, I've been on a couple poker runs myself. Now, are your poker runs just for autism?
Yeah, we do them
That's
every
amazing.
August. We just got one done, I think a couple weeks ago.
Now, do you ride?
No, my dad does though.
You gotta ride, man. You're
I
doing all
need to. I just am a terrible driver with cars. I thought, well, if I'm a terrible driver with cars, if I hop on a motorcycle, I might end up in the ditch. So I better be safe on that.
Maybe we'll wait for the Tesla motorcycle for you.
Yeah, maybe.
Where it drives itself. So it's like, you know what? I'll get there. All right. Doesn't matter how or if I do it, I will be there. So talk a little bit more about challenges. You know, one thing that I think when it comes to autism, I've been an instructor for karate with kids to adults with autism. I used to work with Eddie's Club, where every Sunday we would be met with a buddy, essentially, and we would be their buddy for about 2 hours so their parents could have a break. I used to coach the Challengers baseball team, and my son has autism. My wife seems pretty normal, which means common denominator, which is probably why I can't speak all that well, could be I have autism too. You know what I mean? I've never been formally diagnosed. Now I have ADHD and anxiety, but I will tell you that sometimes, you know, autism is also looked at as like you can't control yourself, but that's not necessarily truth, you know, like, and one thing that I've experienced too is kind of like the misconceptions. People kind of get a little bit weird or kind of out of their zone. How does that make you feel as a person that does autism when somebody kind of disengages from you because they think maybe you're not smart enough or maybe you don't know how to hold
That is a stigma I still deal with, and it's bogus because the problem is there's this whole population of the spectrum who have the mindset of 3-year-olds.
Yep.
I mean, neurologically, they have the mindset of 3-year-olds. And the problem is society thinks that's everybody on the spectrum. Now, I'm not going to lie. That is some people with autism. I've seen it on television. I've seen it in the world. But the problem is society thinks that's everybody on the spectrum. That's not it. There are people out there on the spectrum who are in the middle of the road. Maybe they have the mindset of 15-year-old where, okay, they can cook. Okay, they can get a job. But if they try to balance with finances like an adult, it goes to the pothole. But then you have people like yourself, not yourself, I'm sorry, your son.
Oh, I'm sure I'm on that category, so you can say me too. No worries.
You, your son and myself, who maybe, okay, does the majority of stuff that adults do, can pay bills, go make money, but maybe socially, they're just a little off. And in my brain, with that, who cares if we're just a bit socially off? The fact that we're still doing something says something. I mean, you're going to judge me because I stink at socializing, and you're going to skip over the fact that I graduated college with the associate's degree in broadcasting? Seriously?
Well, you know, and I think that's the thing too. I work with a lot of people with disabilities, as I said in the past, and even myself, you know, like I equate it to people that use were used to be addicts or users, you know, user is a better way to say addict. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like this preconceived like misfortune that this person has, and they possibly couldn't comprehend a normal life. So now I have to feel like, you know, the outside, you know, mentality is like, I have to dumb myself down because I don't know how capable this person is. And I think that's the biggest misconception with autism is, you know, one of my ex-girlfriends, her brother, when I dated her, he could list every Disney movie that ever came out, the year, the actors in it, who directed it, which movie company produced it. I mean, you could be like Fantasia, and he'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And it's fucking amazing, you know? How does that make the community of autistic people feel? And what is the true way of breaking that stigma?
Well, here's the problem. I think those skills are great. I have the similar skills with music. I have on my phone, let me check here right now. It'll tell me if I can just find how much songs I got. How much songs I got on here? Okay. We got a lot of songs apparently.
Somebody likes music.
I'm trying to count how much. It won't tell me for some reason. Okay, let's just say I got too many songs to count on one hand. Within the first beat, I can name the song right off the bat. And it's actually off my phone because I listen to them a lot. But within the first beat, I get it. The problem, though, is, in my opinion, society isn't using these skills because 85% of people on the spectrum are not employed. And that's a humongous problem. Because someone said this when I was on not on this podcast, but a previous podcast. We're too intelligent to be sitting at home.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a guy I follow who has autism, and his parents helped him open his own restaurant. And he works the restaurant. He goes there every day. He interacts with the customers. He talks to people. He engages. He comes up with the menu items, all the menu items he came up with based on things that he liked. I mean, it's kind of almost like saying just because you're short and you look like you don't have very many muscles doesn't mean, like, you know, the sorcerer in the stone doesn't mean you could pull that sword from that stone. But who knows?
Like, I have a friend that's extremely short. I make fun of this friend of mine. I sometimes call her Gremlin. But there's a serious side to it. If you were to judge that person because this person's short, and you're going to say, oh, you're short, I don't think you can graduate college with honors and it's science. Come on. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like literally a preconceived notion somehow that you're in a disadvantage. And I'm determined to correspond with that and act accordingly. And I think that's, you know, that's how we deal with like racism. We deal with different types of people, you know, how people live and act. And it's kind of like this tabooness. But the world is so diverse and has so many people, and there's so many ways to live a life. Like, you know, Thomas Edison, you know, making 1,000 times to not make a light bulb. You know what I mean? It's just the variety is so different, but yet we categorize it into different sectors, you know, depression, anxiety, autism. And because you're in these things, you're different. It's kind of like with me and people when I talk heavily about mental health, and like say somebody gets mad at you and they're like, oh, well, you're crazy. It's like, I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? I'm me, you know what I mean? But now because of perceived value, I'm different. I'm damaged. Does that make sense or no?
Kind of makes sense.
So what do you say to people who have preconceived notions of you? Like how would you handle somebody? If we were in a conversation right now and you felt like you were being downplayed, how have you learned to combat that? Like, what do you do to really, what do you call it? What's that word? Outclass them.
Oh, the way I prove them wrong is I pretty much just show them. It's like, all right, you want to doubt me? Pull up that phone I was talking about. Let me show you this talent of mine with the music I have. That's what I do.
And then what is their reaction? Like what does somebody get from that? And do they get to see your point clearly?
Shocked and surprised.
And the music's all music that you made, right?
No, it's music that I listen to, but there's over 100 songs within the first 5 minutes. Oh, no, but
very nice. So let's talk a little bit about what was your first spark to become public with your voice and your creativity?
Well, it started. I joined my high school's media club.
Okay.
I loved it so much, I decided to start my own podcast, and that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born, really.
Sorry. And what was your mission with that? Like,
well, the mission of Autism Rocks and Rolls right now is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions like many disabilities. Female spectrum are not broken, not need to be fixed. Those have conditions, or at least want to be pitied. There's nothing to be sorry about. I know this really well because I have to say it on my podcast every episode.
I like that. And that goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about users and people like with like cancer and stuff. It's like you don't want to be felt sorry for. You know what I mean? You don't want those type of thoughts. You want to be looked at as normal, just like everybody else. And then, it's kind of like, how do we even define normal? What is normal? What is normal to you?
Whatever you're doing makes you happy.
I would believe the same thing. Whatever is like going on in your life, like right now, this would be a normal day for me. This is normal. Sitting here in my basement talking to somebody on a podcast. That's normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
So when you started the podcast, what was your main mission? Like, what were you really trying to get at? And how did that mission get to the next level?
It was, in my view, to change the perception of a population that, in my view, gets ignored way too often, as you can agree with, for the most ridiculous reasons alive.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
That's pretty much that was pretty much it. That was literally my, shoot, what was it? I lost my train of thought. Oh, that was literally what I was trying to do, because I always want to help people, but never have had the opportunity to until my podcast started.
And what do you think about your podcast is so therapeutic and beneficial to those who are on it or listen to it?
I get to tell stories where you either A, had to be there to understand it, or B, if I try to explain it somewhere else, they would stare at you like a dead dog.
And the dead dog is just because like they're so not used to just like the transparency,
or they're confused. They're confused on what I'm trying to say.
What do you think is the confusion? Why would somebody give you that look?
I think it would be because it's something they're not used to every day. Some people now, okay, here's a great example. Actually, you and I, or your son, you probably had experience. I'm not saying now if he's older, I don't know, but back when you were younger, you probably experienced a meltdown.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I was younger, I experienced a meltdown. For someone that's not familiar with autism, I said I had a meltdown and I threw a piece of watermelon in Walmart. They would either be, or, what did you do?
Now, in your mind, what is building up that pressure to have that type of release? Like, define it. Like explain to me. You're in Walmart. You're raging inside. What are the voices, the sounds, the feelings? Like, why is the watermelon being thrown a release?
That was more of an example. I was trying to think of something you could throw in Walmart. But the way to describe it is an overload with emotions. We were talking about WWE wrestling. It's like a WWE wrestler who's still intense and can't calm down their adrenaline from winning the match.
Mm-hmm. And that adrenaline and energy just carries with you. So it's kind of like contained, like trapped in a jar. And the pressure is building in the jar, which is soon going to expand.
Yeah, maybe, okay, if you know Ilya Dragunov, he's intense. We can go with that one. He starts off pretty major. Then he's intense, finishes him off 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, he's still a little intense. It's a little intense for us too, but Ilya stops. Those with autism sometimes don't.
And what would end that cycle? Like just like sleeping it off, going to bed? Like, how do you get rid of that then?
I think just support with parents. I think trying to learn who they are. It can work for a lot of people. There's different things. Sometimes it's physical touch. There's a great example, actually. There was who was it? This season, or was it last season? This season or last season of Survivor.
Okay.
Eva Erickson, she did a challenge. She was struggling. Adrenaline caught to her. Boatload of emotions came out. Screamed let her mouth off. And feeling very intense. Well, her friend, who was on the opposite team, kind of cooled her off by just touching her and whispering sweet words to her.
I guess all you need is that community. And I think you said it too, is that support, and that's why I feel like there's like not like a direct tie, but the mind of a user versus the mind of autism based on what you described, is kind of the same way. And it's without that support system, you're kind of hopeless. You know what I mean? You really need that support, and that's really benefited you.
Yeah. I mean, I got my support, as you mentioned, one person, but there's other people too, but my parents too. And if I didn't have the support, I wouldn't have made it. No way, Jose.
What do you think that they're able to teach you or get through to you that you can't tell yourself at that moment?
Well, that's a question not for me. Why don't we call someone who will know that answer? Papa, you get to answer a question for him.
There we go. We're getting questions from
Papa Joe.
Grandpa. Papa Joe.
Yeah. What's the question?
Oh, well, the question is, what is one thing that you think you're able as a support system to bring as far as like maybe understanding or clarity to Sam that he may not be able to discover on his own while he's in those moments?
Well, it seems like in the very beginning, you know, we've been pretty close. He trusts me. You know, sometimes if as he was growing up, if he was doing something that wasn't right, you know, I would tell him, and he would believe me most of the time, or at least trust that was right, whether he believed me or not. You know, so it just depends on the individual that's on the spectrum and who they trust. You know, and I think he trusts me. You trust me?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A lot.
But I give him a hard time too, though. And you know, I've taught him that everything isn't literal, because that's the way he used to take everything literal. You know, and he still does to a point.
Oh, hold on for a second.
You know, because he will take it serious. You know, even if it's a joke. You know, but he's much better about that than he was when he was younger. But no, he does pretty good.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say so. Another question I would have too is, you know, how does that really define your definition of autism from, you know, actually seeing it firsthand and working with Sam?
Well, I just I didn't ever know anything about it. You know, I never really even heard of it particularly, you know, before Sam came along, you know, but we all have just grown up together, you know, and have learned day after day. And we've learned, I heard him talking about meltdowns and stuff. We learned that if Sam, when he was younger, if he was having a meltdown, just leave him alone, you know, because he wasn't hearing you anyway, you know, and he sure wasn't rationalizing anything you were saying. He was, I don't know where he was at, but he wasn't paying any attention to any kind of reasoning or anything like that. It was just, we just waited it out. And then next thing you know, he was right back to where he should be. But it was little things would set it off, you know, like if somebody was, if he was expecting somebody to come and he was looking forward to it and they didn't show up, he could have a meltdown, you know, and you would just have to let him get through it. But he doesn't do that anymore, you know, or I haven't seen him do it. You don't have meltdowns anymore, do you? No, he doesn't anymore. I think it was just growing up and being able to rationalize, not necessarily, you know, because he knows everybody has different beliefs in certain things, you know, but he just got to find the people that he can trust, you know, to tell him the truth, which is another problem that a lot of people on the spectrum have, is not understanding a liar. Why would anybody want to lie? You know, and I feel Sam not understand a lie, even though it might be obvious, you know, to most people. And that's, you know, that's what I saw with people on the spectrum, that they could be taken advantage of because of trust, you know, and that's what Sam has learned too, that stop for a minute, think about it. You know, is this sound crazy, or is this,
yes,
you know, could this possibly be true? And he's learned to do that pretty good.
That's the reason why I got trust. That's the reason why I got trust issues.
Because of me?
No, not you. Oh no, not you. You just said why.
It's usually because of women, but now Sam says it's something different. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I've got one of
Yeah,
those.
I got trust issues because of old men now. Go figure.
Old man. There you go. That's funny.
No, but Sam's a pretty good one. But anything I can help you with, I'll tell you.
That's awesome. It was great speaking with you, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I was very close with my grandparents too. And my grandfather is 104. Unfortunately, he's I believe he's showing signs of dementia, and I think we're coming to a different time in his life where he truly doesn't remember things. But I love that because without my grandparents and their support and just pushing me forward, I don't know where I would be, and it takes a village. And whether you're, be an entrepreneur or building a business, that type of love and support makes everything, the difference between success and failure. So let's talk a little bit about WWE. You have a personal connection and interaction with Mick Foley.
Yep, his son's on the spectrum, is partially in, and we're also friends. I've seen him a lot through meet and greets, and just really hit it off every time.
Now, what is that like? Is his experiences? Can you guys relate a lot and be like, "Oh man, I totally feel the same way," or "Oh, I go through that too"? Like, what's the conversation between?
I think he knows that. I think he had the same views with parenting. We never had frequent conversations, but it's just a more of you can tell, and you don't have to ask ordeal. But he's also believes in celebrating others' differences because of his son, like my mom also believes. So I think it's just a lot of ideas we have. We just don't need to have conversations about it because we know you don't have to have the conversation to figure it out.
No, absolutely. But I was thinking, since you guys, his son has autism, you have autism, like the comparing of notes, like two scientists getting together and being like, so man, what's your experience? Oh, this, oh, that, how does that differ for other people that have autism that are on the podcast or have conversations with you? Do you find a lot of similarities, and through those similarities, do you find, answers?
Yeah. And I think he also sees that there's beauty in the differences.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have that view too. There's beauty in the differences. I think the differences make something better in our lives than it will ever not make for someone who's not on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that makes sense.
We'll dive into it. I want you to really dive deep and explain it, because since you have autism and you're an expert as a lived experience, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think it's hard to answer because we didn't really have much conversations with it. It's hard. I did a podcast episode with him clearly, but I think it's just how we see the world, and his son sees the world too. His son is very similar to me when it comes to music. He's played with the Beach Boys, I think, and he knows music well. He actually plays a guitar, and he's self-taught.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So I think that summarizes the answer, hopefully.
Okay. And seeing the world differently, what are the differences? Like if you were to give me like 3 bullet points, like this one's orange, that one's black,
right,
this one's tall, this one's short.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of differences. We kind of mentioned some when we were talking earlier, but I mean, a lot of my hobbies are very different. I mean, have you met another 22-year-old man who might here and there put an episode of Scooby-Doo?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, they have the Scooby-Doo Pumas. I don't think that's unnormal.
Right. But that's an example. Or maybe they have a really big interest in Red Dead Redemption, or sometimes they pay attention to a lot of the littlest details. You take a person to a science museum who's not on the spectrum, and then someone who is, the person on the spectrum is going to pay more attention to that item spinning compared to that other person who's not on the spectrum.
So like hyper focusing, if you will.
Yep, exactly.
Really getting into it.
The Armani Williams NASCAR race car driver you mentioned earlier, the reason he's winning races is because of his hyper focus, his hyper fixation and focusing when he's in the car. That's why he wins races.
Interesting. Okay. Well, like I said, it's almost like a superpower.
It really is. That hyperfixation, the hyper focusing, the more understanding the world, I wouldn't change it. There's medicine trying to cure autism. I'm not going to take it. To hell with that.
So, what makes you want to tell the world your story? You did TED Talks, which congratulations. That's awesome. That's a platform that I would love to get on one day. Talk a little bit about like the mission of Sam. What is Sam's goal?
I mean, the mission up for Sam is just wanting to make this into an empire. I mean, I'm kind of made already a bit of an empire where I can succeed and lay on my head on my bed and just say, all right, I'm waking up and I got something to do. But now I want to obviously grow this expansion as much as I can.
Now, are you doing it through like franchising? Are you going to like set up and go to different states? Like, what's your goal?
Well, it's happened worldwide already. It's just that I want everyone to know it. Like everyone in the world knows Goodwill. I want to be on that same level.
What do you think that you're going to be able to do? Like, are you going to do events? Are you going to raise money? Are you going to
raise money, events, speaking, just keep promoting out there? I think that's what I've came to learn terms with this business is the best strategy isn't the flyers. It isn't social media. I think it's word of mouth.
Yeah. Well, I as a business owner, I agree. Word of mouth is still the best form of networking and referrals. I mean, online is great, but it's really like kind of fishing in the ocean. So I do agree with you on that. So let's talk a little bit about balancing everything with autism. How do you balance work and life and all these crazy ideas that you have?
That's a hard part of my life still because my tendency is I'm very much prioritizing things. If you were to ask me what's more important, going to Outback Steakhouse with your family for a nice dinner or trying to figure out your next episode for the Gina Mitchell show, I would say it's equal.
And who's Gina Mitchell?
That's my mother.
Oh, fantastic.
She's the host of the show. That was just an example I thought of.
You sounded like she's like Gina Mitchell. So it was just the way you sounded. It was like powerful behind it. So I like that.
Well, but examples like that is I can't prioritize still. To me, they're both equal, and it's trying to figure out, okay, do I have a nice dinner with my family, which is clearly important because that's mom and dad and they're paying for your dinner.
That's hilarious.
You can't miss that. Or do you work on this project because tomorrow for you is swamped?
It's like, those free meals aren't going to last forever.
Yeah, pretty much.
It reminds me on Instagram where the guy's sweating and he has his finger and it's like two buttons and he doesn't know which one to push. I feel that with Sam going on. It's just like, they're both so good options.
Yeah, so much options here. The way I think of it is I'm a big guy who likes to eat, and a lot of the things that are really good in my view are when it comes to the appetizer section, just because the type of food Americans like with their appetizers, like fried pickles, wings, which wings sound to be my favorite food. So that's actually not a choice. Buffalo wings are my favorite. But if I pick between fried pickles, tater skins, shrimp cocktail, mozzarella sticks, which one do I want? I want all four of them.
Yeah, I'm going to go with all four too. You just listed some fan favorites there. So I'll definitely join you for that.
Right, exactly.
So with this being said, how do you define success beyond your numbers? Like, what is, at the end of it all, what mission would you have completed for?
Changing lives. I would say changing lives and just giving people who are lost hope. I mean, throughout my journey, I met parents who went to a booth of mine at a podcast conference. This is a true story. Within 2 minutes of this guy trying to tell his son's on the spectrum, tears rolling down his face and thinking his life is over.
Mm.
And that's clearly, as we know, not the case. A diagnosis doesn't equal death sentence. It doesn't equal going on the lethal injection. It doesn't equal death's row.
No, I like what you said there. And it doesn't, just because you're diagnosed with it does not mean anything. I mean, there's people that are like, oh, you have 3 months to live, and they live like 15 more years. You know what I mean? So I do agree with you. This whole classification, and then it's almost the acceptance of faith. It's like sometimes, you know, we all do it too, because we're on the WebMD and we're like, oh my God, I have this. And you go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, you don't have that. You know, but you're like, but for like that,
I lost my grandfather to lung cancer in 2023, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that.
It's all right. But, you know, when I was around him, and I didn't try to be around him that much, not because I wasn't close to him, just because it killed me to see him like that. Not one time did I hear him complain.
Well, that's also the greatest generation that ever lived. So, you know, there's
now,
two things going for
him. He complained once, maybe to my father, from what I've heard, but not to me. Even when he was getting really weak, not one complaint. Or not really weak, when he was starting to get weak. And he was still there. Not one complaint.
Yeah, my grandmother died of melanoma cancer, and I watched her die, and it was very sad. And same thing. I just think it's a pride thing, and that generation exemplified, you know, being able to carry on. Like, you know, you get people that get a paper cut and they want to take off the rest of the workday because they're injured, and they want to also get some mental health services because they cut their finger with a piece of paper. Okay. You know what I mean? You know, you have these irrational people.
Kind of making fun of me again a little bit, but he's thinking that's the same way with certain things with autism. It's kind of autism, but I don't think so. It depends on what it is. So it's because of the sensitivity. So I'm very hyper focused on getting ill. I could go to work with a drainage on my chest, with a clogged ear or itchy eyes. But if I get a runny nose, that is the death sentence of my life.
That's funny. So what do you do?
Oh, I will plug it up with tissues.
You just walk around with tissues in your nose?
Yes.
Do you cut them off?
No.
So like it's clean.
No. They're crammed in there. They're
and you just like hanging. They're like, hey man.
Oh yeah, I had to do that once at I went to an Alice Cooper Rob Zombie concert, and as the day went on, I just got sick. Like I about went home because I about fell asleep during the concert.
The mosh pit didn't keep you awake?
No, like I was like, it was a zombie. It felt like I was a zombie in the zombie apocalypse, man.
Right.
And so I literally was like, all right, this is gonna be disgusting, but
let's do it.
Stinking tissues from this bathroom, and I plugged her up in there.
You just plugged it up in there. You're like,
yep. And it sucked, but I'm like, you know what? It's driving me crazy from showing people I'm sick, and I can at least breathe through my mouth.
Yeah, no, that would be very interesting to walk around with tissues. Like sometimes when I lay down at night, my nose gets clogged, so I can only breathe out of my mouth. I can only imagine doing that in a very loud environment. And, you know, I feel like my autism would come out, and I can't do this anymore. I have to like pull them out. Be like when the person in the emergency room is like pulls out the IV and shit. I'm dying. I can't breathe.
Right. That's very similar to my issue with the runny nose. But anything else, I could probably manage. I mean, going in there with a clogged ear, sore throat. I've done it before, but runny nose, I'm dead. I am dead.
That's hilarious. So let's talk a little bit about motivation. Obviously, even me, some days we feel like we can conquer the world, and some days that we feel like we're being taken over by the world. How do you deal with motivation, especially having so much going on? You know, as a creator myself, sometimes you really have to push yourself. Where do you find that energy?
I mean, I find the energy because at the end of the day, I know I want to do this. Okay, I hopefully, if things go according to plan today, I have a pre-production meeting today with this Gina Mitchell show with my mother.
Perfect.
I know I want to do it. It's not like, oh, do I want to do it today? Oh, I don't feel like it. No, I want to do it. So it's knowing that, okay, you want to do it. I have to make notes today for my next episode. I know I want to do it. So I'm willing to put the work in. Because on the spectrum, there's stubborn people and they're not going to do something because they don't want to do it and they're not interested. Some will not do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have people that are completely normal that are not on the spectrum who are lazy and won't do it either, So I think that's great. Now, that drive, that energy, is that something you've always exemplified, or is this something that has come along as the project's built?
No, that's always been in my
So
DNA.
you're like a go-getter. If it's in your mind.
Worked hard and had done like side gigs before. I mean, my dad's had a hay business.
That's cool.
He still does have a hay business. My mom is a teacher and is doing this as well. So there's definitely drive in our family.
So with the Gina Mitchell show, can you discuss the concept and what it's about?
Yeah. So it's, as I said, it's like Bill Nye the Science Guy, but instead of with science, it's with autism. We just started it and we'll have one episode out right now, but hopefully there's going to be more down the line. I promise you.
Now, are you visiting locations like museums and going on field trips?
We haven't yet. The first one was literally recorded in our house.
That's awesome.
At our house, but hopefully it will expand more. But right now I'm just trying to show her because her knowledge of broadcasting isn't, I don't want to say limited, but just not as quality level as mine is. I'm still trying to show her the ropes. And for the longest time, I've always dreaded video editing because that was always a pain. I barely passed that class in college with a C. So hopefully I want to learn this on my own, because what I've come to learn is with video editing, no one's going to teach me that. The way I'm going to learn that is if I play with the technology myself and I teach myself how to edit a video.
I love that. I'm self-taught. I do video production for a living, so filming.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm very happy about that.
And with that, I hate editing too. Editing sucks. Editing takes forever.
It's so weird. I like audio editing, but the video, oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's crucial. What editing software have you decided to try out?
Huh?
Which editing software do you try out when you do video editing?
For audio, it's Audacity. For video, it's Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro.
Yes.
With that one.
Premiere Pro is great. Just remember to Alt save, because there are times where Premiere crashes and you lose about 2 hours of work and you're like, fuck you. There have been so many times I have contemplated leaving Premiere Pro because it shits on me sometimes, and I never do, but because I'm too invested in it, I know it too well. But it's just one of those things where Premiere Pro will give you a run for your money. So with that being said, and you probably already know this, whenever I can't figure out something that I want to do on my video, I go to YouTube University.
Me too.
I've
learned how to make a video black and white because of YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is fucking awesome, dude. No, I love that. And creativity is really everything. And that's why everybody is capable of creativity.
That's what I've learned in broadcasting. And I haven't heard this, but I just learned this through college and just doing it on my own. Your imagination is your limit.
Yes.
I will take that lesson to the grave with me.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's another one to add on to that. The graveyard is the richest place in the world because that's where all your dreams and visions go to die.
Not wrong there.
Yep. That's why it's the richest place in the world. And that's why, I think it's so great that you have this mindset that you do, because with this mindset, you can actually affect people. You can change lives. You can do things and break a stigma like you're trying to do, just like I try to do with cannabis through Smoke Busters and even Vindec EU, because we talk about cannabis and healing, is to really show that, no, there is a different way, and it's not wrong, and it's not weird. It's not different. It's just a different way. And, and I always believe too, is anybody is capable of anything. It's like judging a book by its cover. You have no idea how capable somebody is until they need to be, and sometimes it could be a lack of motivation. It could be, just an off day. There's just so many factors. But I love how you wake up to yourself and you're like, yes, I want to be here. I want to do this. For younger kids with autism, what would be some things of motivation that you would tell somebody that's maybe, let's go 5 years behind?
Okay.
And what would you say to yourself 5 years ago?
Well, for the longest time, for those 5 years you were talking about, I thought there's 8 billion people on Earth. Other than family, no one's going to find me interesting. Now I see bullshit because, okay, I had one friend, but I can have more. I didn't see that because of just how awful I felt. But then once I stopped people pleasing, I started making more, and it grew. I obviously gained stuff. I obviously got to meet people that I would never imagine thought. So my point I'm trying to make here is someone's going to find you interesting, and maybe someone you don't expect. It could be a World War II veteran. It could be a 2-year-old child. It could be your 8-year-old cousin. It could be a podcaster up in the United Arabs, but it's someone. And to me, something is better than nothing.
Yeah, I would agree. Something is better than nothing. And one of the other things too is you can now use this motivation as profound proof that it actually works. Like you're actually doing it and it's actually happening in real time with your life in those past 5 years, from where you were 5 years ago, even where I was 5 years ago. And I think that's also the big part of the proof. And that the resilience is, I may not know, and maybe I'm not the smartest person in the world or in the room. Maybe I don't have the most money. Maybe I don't have the most resources, but I'm consistent enough to show that progress and then to make something out of that. And then, like, you are 100% right. Being, interesting, of course you're going to be interesting. One of the biggest factors when you create an account is either it needs to stand out or it needs to be different, or not to stand out. Those two things, same things. It needs to be different, and it needs to, I forget the other one, but being different in your case is going to be a huge asset to you because it's curious, especially when you go with the name of your podcast, it's all things that play on it. Now, are you a big fan of School of Rock? That's where I thought you got it from. So you didn't get it from there.
No, I just have a hobby of rock and roll music. That's why I just dug in.
Who's your favorite band?
Oh, it's a tie between AC/DC and Nickelback.
I like, everybody shits on Nickelback, and I don't understand why, because in the early 2000s, everybody listened to Nickelback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's like, really? You don't like this? I mean, this is rock and roll. It's classic. I mean, if you don't think AC/DC and Nickelback rock and roll, you're an idiot. Because
now AC/DC are legends.
Oh yeah, but if you would think, oh, AC/DC's country, no, they're not. Trust me.
Well, in today's world, everything blends. You got rap, you got hip hop, you got all rock, types of stuff.
I call it rock, country and rock, but I like that type of music because I'm also in the country.
Well, no, I'm saying it all ties to country. Like you have all of that. You remember when Nelly and Tim McGraw did Over and Over Again? It was like the first time
I didn't hear that one. I haven't heard that.
Okay. One. Well, it was like the first time they actually brought rap music and country music together in a song like that. It had been like the first time it ever kind of been done, and it was a big deal, and it just paved the way. But even in that, who would have thought that worked so well? And that's why with Stigma breaking and just everything that we go through and all this judgment, it's like, where do we learn to judge so hard? Where does all of this come from? Where do we become a world where things that are different have emotion attached to it, have feelings attached to it? You know, it's like I look at something and I feel a certain way, but why do I feel that way? Have you ever wondered that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, what do you think it is?
Wait, can you say it again? I lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
Okay. So imagine, like, let's say you're walking by and you see something. And in the situation that I'm talking about is like I would see a person on the road. And based on that person's description, I'm going to feel a certain way about them. And I'm going to make a prejudgment of that person and who they might be. And my question is, where do you think that comes from, especially with autism and all the things that you've
I think
learned?
it comes from society's views and rules. There's a certain view of what success looks like. It's the Southern Belle lady with blonde hair and blue eyes, or it's the person with fabulous hair and they're singing country music. No, that's not everybody. That's not everybody. And people have had this view of what success looks like. That shouldn't happen. Should there be standards? Yes. Like wearing a suit and tie to a formal dinner, even though I hate wearing suit and ties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. But should it be like, oh, he has the longest hair alive, covers his face, he's not successful? No. No, 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 no. You don't know what he does for a living. Just because someone dresses like that, it shouldn't mean they're not successful.
Have you ever heard of the t-shirt theory? It's based off of Mark Cuban.
No, I haven't. Let her rip. Tell me.
Okay, so the t-shirt theory, it's told by, I forget, somebody else. And he said every time he met Mark Cuban, he'd be in a conference room and all these people have suits. And Mark Cuban would just wear a t-shirt. And for the longest time, at the beginning, he couldn't figure out why he would just wear a t-shirt to like these billionaire meetings. And then he realized everybody's pitching him. You know what I mean? When you're the top dog, you can do what you want. But the real reality of it is when you're a self-made expert of whatever field you're in, the gravity of who you're becoming, what you look like, you know, how you dress. Even me, like with pink hair, I would have never done pink hair. But last year I raised $2,600 for breast cancer, and I threw a huge event, right? And you know, and did a lot of great. And to represent breast cancer, which is the color pink, I dyed my hair. But I would have never done that before. But it looked great, and now I do it all the time. But it's one of those things where how you're becoming, who you're becoming, is all being molded. And in a way, you're also breaking your own stigmas. So you're breaking down things like 2 years ago, I would never do pink hair. Fuck that. Like I don't even wear pink. And now I have pink. I'm wearing pink Crocs right now. You know what I mean? So it's like barriers that we also break down for ourselves that I think also help us break down stigma. Because, you know, in myself still trying to answer the question, why do we feel certain ways when we feel or deal with certain people? And I think there's also, like in the psychology world, I was talking to my therapist yesterday, you know, there's electromagnetic fields and we're all based on energy. And that's also a big factor, is people that resonate in those fields. You know, have you ever been around somebody and then all of a sudden your entire body and everything changes, you know, because of that one person, and that person will leave the room and then you'll feel completely fine again?
Yeah. Yep. I've been there. I've been there with school, and it's not a good feeling when you have not the fear of some, but the fear of getting judged again, and they leave the room. You're good to go. It's a sad part of life, but you know what happens.
So what do you do to deal with that judgment? Do you feel like you're still heavily judged today, or do you feel like your platform has created enough impact that more?
I avoid them.
Just like block them, get rid of them.
Yeah, I avoid them. Great example is I had an event a couple of years ago. One of those persons who was very judging me in school, I saw him. I didn't even greet the guy. I didn't even acknowledge he was there. I just looked, turned my head. Out you go, dude. And
I think that's the best way to handle it. People want to hate, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, what would you tell those people that are misinformed? Like, if we describe autism to somebody that doesn't know anything about it to help build clarity off that.
Well, I think it's your loss. I mean, if you're not going to hang out with us or put us not on a pedestal, put us around you, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's your problem. That is your problem. That's not our fault. You're going to take us because we can't socialize right. That's a stupid thing to do. That's not a fair thing to do even. And why would you do that if it's not even fair? I know life's not fair, but there's some stuff in life that could be fair. That's one of them.
What would be like the second or third?
Wait, what?
You said that would be one of them. And let's build like 2 and 3. What would be something else?
Oh, I would also say that what we can do for our autism child is sometimes the best thing we can do. I think what we do in life sometimes with our child and it's judged, it's not right. Who cares if your 10-year-old son or daughter has to still be in diapers? I mean, you don't judge a person based on that. You judge on what they can do. And then I guess the third thing would be you got to find the support system. You have to find the support system. I know we talked on it briefly, but I'm going to say it again. I mean, where I'm at right now, I feel pretty safe. It needs to be the same thing. They need to find people who they can be around with.
No, I like that. Dive into it. Let's talk about support system. What does a great support system look like?
Well, family, maybe a couple people that aren't family. And then maybe advocates, friends you can rely on. Maybe if you get lucky, there's teachers that can become friends later on down the line, professors that can become friends down the line. It's just people you meet. You want to connect with as much people as you can. I think this world is all about connection.
I would believe that you're correct. Most businesses build it based off of relationships. So I do believe, and I think also too, like it's been said too, the world wouldn't have evolved this fast and this many millions of years if it weren't for the ability to communicate. I mean, I think that is one of the greatest things and weapons that we have is communication. But also, I think with technology, sometimes the tough conversations, the hard talks, the understanding how you're feeling, going through the emotions becomes a lost language. And, it can be good or bad, and I think conversating, even just like a weekly podcast or however many podcasts you do, just even if it's not a podcast, just being able to know how to communicate. It's almost like a rhythm, like
right.
It's like it's a movement. So it's like, back and forth and back.
There's something right there you can also do. Speak up. The more you speak up, the more people are going to listen to you.
Yeah. So when you went on TED Talks, what was that like?
Well, we had to do it virtually because of COVID, but it was still
okay
as a TED Talk. It's about why those on the spectrum need structure, and we need structure in life because that's kind of our safe haven. Because when those on the spectrum know what's coming down the line, they can expect it. Because this world sometimes is full of unknowns. I mean, my mom could be in a car accident tomorrow morning. Knock on wood, she isn't.
Yeah. You got a lot of wood behind you. Go ahead.
I'm knocking a lot of wood right now. Trust me.
All right, good.
But stuff like that can happen. When we know what's coming, though, it makes our life at ease. We don't have to fidget with our fingers.
Anything else?
No.
So with that being said, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I had a space moment. Like I said, I suffer from moments where I'm just like, wait, where am I? No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes though, when I fall asleep. But oh shoot. Remind me what we were just talking about.
I was talking about fidgeting with their fingers because of at ease, and we're more at ease when we have structure in our lives.
Okay, there you go. Yep. So I'm the same way. And when I was younger, I didn't care about any structure. And now I'm trying to build so many things based off of structure because you honestly kind of feel lost without it. You know what I mean? And to get things done when you have goals and visions like you do, and I do, and other people, it's either structure and discipline, or you don't necessarily accomplish all your goals. And when it comes to doing something big, like, what you're trying to do bigger than yourself, it's great because I feel like structure building is something that they should teach in school, because it's like an art. Like if you know how to, like, which I'm not an expert in, but like true time management and know how to really maximize your time, which I'm not an expert in. I feel like that is also like a cheat code. So with that being said, how do you build in discipline, and what is discipline besides obviously just saying, yes, I'm going to do this?
Oh, do it. I mean, you can say all you want. Actions speak louder than words, though, buddy. Do it. Then you prove your discipline. That's where you earn your Purple Hearts.
Your Purple Hearts. You got to get wounded though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not without a cost.
Yeah. But we've also sometimes think about it though too. When we've been disciplined, it leaves wounds sometimes.
What do you think's so important about discipline now in your life versus before?
I think what's more discipline now is I have an opportunity now. Back then, my life was, oh great, I'm gonna go play video games. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not gonna do anything with this. It's just time consuming. Now it's, oh, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go produce an episode of the Gina Mitchell Show. It's going to go on Venmo. It's going to get somewhere.
And what does that do for you when it gets somewhere and it all works out?
It makes me feel good, and it makes me show that the work I do is relevant. It's not hiding in the back shelf of a closet.
Yeah, and it's out there for the world to see and appreciate.
Right, exactly.
So with that, how does that build the desire for more discipline? And do you learn from that? Are you like tracking?
I think I've learned it before, and the learning comes from the family. Again, it's just ingrained in me because I was taught that through my whole entire life.
Taught what?
Hard discipline, hard work, working hard.
And working smart too. Work hard.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I don't work smart. I work hard.
There you go. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I love the boots on the ground, hands in the dirt, approach. Because I think, when you're building whatever it is, there's different things that if you do not experience or go through, I think it hurts you in the long run. So I think the biggest thing is what you've exemplified is, not being afraid, trying different things, using that as a gauge, as motivation to drive yourself more, and then repeat. It's kind of like a closed loop. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the biggest things that you can teach other people, especially with autism and the spectrum, especially young people, is the fact that you can do it. And I think a lot of people just want to know that they can be able to do it. And even like you said, my life before was playing video games all day. Whoop-de-doo. Now I feel like I have purpose. Now I have drive.
Right. And that's what Americans need a lot, is this purpose, something to do. I had a friend who would go to college, but then on the weekends he'd work at the coal mine. To me, that's something. I'm probably not going to be going in a coal mine anytime soon, but that's his happiness. That's his way of saying, I'm doing something.
Oh, you're definitely doing something for sure. We have a 4-minute break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send our video here. Be back in 4 minutes, everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying the episode. If you guys want to leave comments or have any questions, now will be the time to do so when we come back from the break, and we will see you guys very, very shortly.
When I get low, there's somewhere I like to go, out walking with my shadow and my garden friend. Oh, Yahweh, I know you got me in hand. Though I am tired, you help me stand. But will I be okay?
What's up, guys? If you're enjoying this episode, then you're going to enjoy our gold sponsor, which is Dry Flower, the original hang harvesting system. If you've ever ruined your flower post-chop or lost your terps to a bad dry, it's time to upgrade. Dry Flower makes the full plant hang drying effortless with tools like their drying arms, the rack systems, and the Cannabis Guardian nets, giving you consistent airflow, zero flat spots, and maximum preservation of your strain's full aroma and structure. Built by growers for growers, Dry Flower helps you cure like a king. Our silver sponsor, Current Culture, the gold standard in deep water culture hydroponics. These systems are designed to deliver explosive roots, growth, and nutrient uptake through consistent water circulation and oxidization. Whether you're in a 4-site system for a home setup or a 100-light commercial facility, their undercurrent system and plug-and-play designs make your grow cleaner, faster, and more productive. Precision growing starts at the roots, and that's where Current Culture shines. Legendary Leafies is on a mission to support veterans and break the stigma around cannabis. Through their unique cannabis-themed trading cards, they highlight the plant's therapeutic potential, especially though for those that are battling PTSD and anxiety. Legendary Leafies blends education with empowerment, helping veterans and others feel proud and not ashamed of their mental health journey.
When I get low, there's somewhere I like to go, out walking with my shadow and my garden friend. Oh, Yahweh, I know you got me in hand. Though I am tired, you help me stand. But will I be okay?
All right, everybody, we are back with Sam, and we're about to bring him back on. Hope everybody is having a great night. I am having a wonderful night. It's been a wonderful conversation, and we got more conversation on the way. So let's bring Sam back on. What's going on, my dude?
Hey,
Did you enjoy your break?
I did.
You know, the break actually really makes the show. I feel like it's a good refresh point. It really kind of helps like split it up. You get to stretch your legs. I got upstairs. I got me a Pepsi, which I was dying for. So, you know, kind of love that flexibility to be like, you know what? I to reset the environment.
I do the same thing in my show. I do ads and sponsors, so I'm very familiar with that.
There you go. Well, you know, and that's something that we share already is, you know, we're very similar in that aspect, you know, trying to do something with our vision and our purpose and how we feel on the inside and really driving that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about perspective on the world. When we were on our break, I came up with some questions that I thought would be great to get some feedback on, especially about autism and everything. If you could redesign, what is one thing you wish schools and institutions would teach about mental health and neurodiversity?
Well, it's not really something they would do. I think not really they would teach, it's something they would do mostly. Sometimes I think those schools and institutions care more about money than the education about it.
It's probably true.
They need to stop that. If you're building a school or an institute, your first goal should be to help children or to help patients.
But if they would teach something about mental health and neurodiversity, what would it be? What would you think is the most important thing?
I would think the best thing they could teach is to show that these people with abilities, just because they don't socialize well, doesn't mean they deserve to be hidden in the box. It's not fair. It's not right. Not nice. Not cool to do. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve that treatment.
Now, when you say like put hidden in the box, because to the
that
outside,
is metaphorical.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, when you say that, it's because the world, to some people, don't want to look at it, for example,
Right.
and they'd rather pretend that it doesn't exist.
Bingo.
Now, how do you feel about the sense that, you know, in today's world, there's not, you know, like back in the older days, we had mental institutions, you know, now there was good and bad things about that. You know, there was a lot of
it wasn't good for us in the 1930s because those on the spectrum were institutionalized immediately.
Well, what I'm saying is in today's world, we don't have like institutions like that for the mentally ill. We have prison. How do people navigate with heavy autism that you've seen when life's troubles happen? Like, how does somebody find the correct counseling if they don't have a family, they don't have a support system, they don't have anything?
I mean, yeah, I know we have prisons and that's not great either, but we got to find someone still. Okay, Bob, who is on the spectrum, did something that's baloney crazy. Okay, because he broke the law, he has to go to prison. But why can't we find some help in prison? Find a cop he can talk to if he feels like he's not safe. I mean, if he's going to prison, he still deserves the resources.
Oh, absolutely. And how would you answer that question?
What question?
Well, you just said, how would he find somebody to talk to?
Oh, how? No, I said, why not? Is what I said.
Why not?
Why not? My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah. The way I would answer is I'd find a Cop John, and say, Cop John, listen, I know he's a prisoner, but he's on the spectrum. If he doesn't have someone on his back still, he's not going to survive here very long.
Yeah.
Please have his back. Cop John. Like, I would ask the cop face to face.
Do you think being able to ask that question would be hard for somebody in that situation?
I think so, yes. Because they're already going to a new environment that's not very familiar with them. And may I add, a very scary environment.
Now, that would actually be a great question. As somebody that described the temperature in the room setting you off, or very small minor things to the outside world, but to you in autism, it's very big. My son is very similar with washing his hair. When he was younger, we had to explain to him the day before that tomorrow you're going to have to wash your hair and get it wet, and he would flip out. You know
I
what I
hate
mean?
that. I know where your son's going with that. I hate that too.
How do you, like, let's say hypothetically, obviously you would never be in this situation, but if you were in jail and you know yourself and your autism, how do you think you would be able to handle that? Do you think you'd be able to find a way through, or do you feel like you'd end up in one of those padded rooms?
I would need someone to advocate for me and say, listen, he's got to have someone there, or we got to figure out who he is so we can know how not to set him off so bad that he's causing a disturbance in the prison even. I mean, and I'm not talking about a disturbance that can't be handled, because yes, prisons do get disturbances, but eventually the cop handles them. Right? We know that. It's sometimes not the most peaceful methods, but they handle them. For him, we got to find out how to handle this without bringing out the gun or the taser.
Or I think it's the big rubber suit that they wear and they tackle you with it.
Yep.
And they just like go full like football player. I do have a question from Master Yoda here. He said, Sam, if I was an educator, what's one specific thing I could do to adjust my teaching style to help cater to autistic students in my classroom?
Make it more visual appealing. A lot of those on the spectrum are visual learners, hands-on. They rather, instead of writing 2x2, they rather get stickers and put it on the refrigerator. Hopefully that makes sense, Master Yoda. And it's just more of finding ways to make it appealing.
Yeah.
Instead of writing the sentences, make the sentences. Or instead of doing a big lecture on the Civil War, why not reenact the Civil War teaching about it? Those are some examples for you right there.
If you could design the perfect day for your mental health, what would it look like from morning to night?
Well, from morning, I would wake up and I wouldn't wake up in the world where I feel judged. I wouldn't wake up in a world where I feel stressed. I wake up in a world where everyone could literally not go by down and I could feel actually comfortable walking down the street because my hair's a little bit messed up. It's not right now, but I've gotten bedhead before and it's just sticking out there, and I can just tell people are looking at, God, does this guy ever comb his hair?
I am with you on that. I have flyaways, but I've decided to own it, dude. My hair has become so many styles lately. I just don't care anymore. Like, to a lot of people, I feel like their hair really defines them and their image of what they look like or whatever. Me, I'm like, I just don't care anymore. When I'm 80, when I'm 90 or 100, I'll be surprised if I still have hair. You know what I mean? So
that's very fair.
Yoda says, thank you very much.
Not a problem.
So if time and money weren't an issue, what project would your podcast work on right now?
Well, I would really work on, first of all, making a homemade studio that's not in my parents' basement. But I would also try to just make a television show more accessible. I would make a television network. I've seen not online television show, but like a streaming platform of Autism Rocks and Rolls stuff. It's like a peacock almost. I'm not talking about the animal peacock. I'm talking about the streaming thing, peacock.
It's like, for clarification, no animals were hurt during this conversation.
Yeah, no animals. Although I passed peacocks before and they
Mm.
called them roosters and I hate them.
I just want to know where it got its name, like the cock part. Like I get it, you know, like maybe it's like pea color, you know, or whatever. But like peacock, what an interesting name.
True.
It's like, you know, it's like, what are we gonna call that? It looks like a peacock. What the hell is that? I don't know, but we'll name it. Like, kind of like, have you ever heard of like obviously you're familiar with medicine, like some of the medicine names. It's like, what? Like who thinks of this shit? Like just call it pain relief, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, what is all this?
Do we really need to name it amoxicillin or not just call it antibiotic or sore throat?
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's simplify things.
Let's call it anti-throat medicine. That's easy.
Anti-throat medicine. There we go. Do you think that social media helps or hurts mental health for people on the spectrum?
Both. Depends on who the creator is and the content. This is great. Citizen Soldiers Music, they're a rock band. They also advocate for mental health. You haven't heard them, check out their music.
I know Citizen Shoulder, yep.
Great resource. But then we get the creator, like certain people up in the hierarchy in broadcasting, who will focus so hard on autism and they say the worst things alive about it.
Let's dive into those worst things. What are, like, give me like 5 things that you've heard that are like the worst things that people say when it comes to the stigma of being autistic.
Well, I'm not going to summarize 5 things because I just got one thing. You can go look at the video yourself.
Okay, for the guests, since they're watching this video right now, say a couple of the things.
Okay. In that speech, he said we're not going to throw a baseball. I've thrown a baseball before. I played baseball when I was a child.
Okay.
And then also something else in that speech he said was that they're broken and they don't have the right mindset. Are you kidding me? I'm fine. I'm 22 years old and I am doing things appropriately. Oh, 23. Yeah. Oops.
Hey, you know, you're saving your age. It's okay. Some people turn 18 like 3 or 4 times in a row. I know some women are still 21, and I don't know how they keep being 21 each year, but they are. With that being said, being broken, I've discussed this a lot on my podcast with orphans, suicide victims, a lot of different types of people. What do you imagine their definition of broken is? Why would somebody label you as broken?
In our brains, we are not going anywhere. We're the basement kid playing video games, trying to consume our time by doing something very unproductive.
Mm-hmm. And how does that make you broken?
Well, I think it makes me broken because it doesn't give us a purpose. It doesn't give us a purpose. The reason we're doing it is to pass the time. When I make an episode of the Gina Mitchell Show, I'm not trying to pass the time. That's the difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing what you're doing just to pass the time and you feel like you have to do it, or do you really want to do it?
Now, but the psychology of being broken is there's something not right with you. So when people have labeled you different things, what are they equating or thinking that what is not right with Sam?
Oh, okay. Well, here's the deal. Maybe they're right. But I'm also come to terms that if I'm broken, then I'm doing what I want to do. And that includes you being broken or me being broken. So be it. I do not care. My life is for my life. What you do with your life, that's up to you.
It's great to have that confidence. And I think that's what people really need is that attitude. You know, Mel Robbins, like Lacey was saying earlier in the comments, has that let them theory, which is let them think that you're broken. Let them think that you're foolish and can't figure it out for yourself. And then you can show them yourself how crazy you are with your ideas and your passion and your excitement and success. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, dude, you know what, you might be broken.
Yeah.
and just put it right back on them.
Yep.
So when social media turns, what are some of the things that people are doing that discredits autism? Like, what would you consider something that
They're
people
bringing.
do?
Okay, I can go into that. They're
Okay.
going into negatives, but without mentioning what to do. With social media, you can tell. Okay, they're gonna have the meltdown. Where's the what do you do part about it? I don't see that anywhere.
And
Or
what,
they say they're going to be too blunt. Again, what do you do about it?
and let's educate people. How could we help somebody with autism? You know, what would we do?
With what though? I'm very specific person. It just depends on with what you're saying.
Okay, like obviously we're now friends. So
Yeah.
I say Sam's my friend. Sam, I would know we're going to an environment and the temperature is going to change. What do I do to help Sam out? Like,
Okay.
what does somebody need?
Let me know. Maybe say, hey, bud, we're going to the freezer aisle Walmart today. If you're going to go into Walmart with me, because sometimes I don't want to go into Walmart because I'm not I don't like people sometimes enough too.
That's fair enough.
You might want to put on a coat. Okay, sure. Thanks. Give me a notice ahead of time.
And that
And
notice,
if not speaking, you're going to have to play the telepathy game where, okay, you're going to Walmart, but you can still tell them ahead of time, put on your coat. Or you can just hand them the coat because they know what it means.
so it's kind of like setting them up for success. Just, you know, being thoughtful. Hey, I know you're going to experience this. Like, here it's loud, so I brought you earplugs.
Yep, exactly. And some of it's common sense. I mean, we go to a rock and roll music concert, duh, it's loud. I mean, you learn that through the first concert you go to. It's going to be loud as hell.
Mhm.
They'll know to get the earplugs, but if they forget, just say, hey, buddy, you might put on earplugs because it's going to be loud, remember? Oh, yeah, my bad.
Now, when somebody does that and your experiences change, does that gain like a confidence or like learned behavior, like muscle memory? So in the future, if you didn't have that coat, you'd be a little bit
it
better.
gains muscle memory, and they know ahead of time, like, okay, here's what we do. But it's also the other person an integrity check, as I like to call it. The fact that you did that and reminded me, that says something. That shows you care about me. Not a lot of people do. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of people care about you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
I just feel like that was more of a thought from a person who's not in my boat.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Now, with that being said, would there ever be a situation where it'd be like complete shutdown? And for you, what was that like?
I've shut down several times before in overwhelming environment. Sometimes where people are talking to me too much, where Big Papa Joe wants me, then my uncle wants me, my aunt wants to talk to me now, and my great aunt wants to talk to me, my other grandma wants to talk to me. It's like, guys, shut up. One at a time here.
Sounds like a family reunion.
It is a family reunion. I don't mind doing family reunions, but that hasn't happened before. But if that did happen, I'd be like, guys, one at a time. You first, Aunt Did, or you next, Uncle Tim.
So with being overwhelmed, like you shut down and what happens?
I'm in my own little space. I'm not talking to anybody. I mean, it's pretty much I'm in the zone of space. I'm in space. I am in a space land.
Now in Spaceland, what does that look and feel like? Like, so you
Basically,
completely shut down.
It's basically exiting Earth, and you're outside with the stars and maybe close to the satellite too that spins around Earth.
So is this visual? Is this audio? Like, is it
It's
like
visual.
a dream?
It's visual.
So you're actually just like, you're just unaware of your environment and like you're almost like in a dreamlike euphoric state.
Yeah,
where
I'm
you
pretty
feel like
much-
you're in
I'm pretty
space.
I'm pretty much. This is the only way to say it. I don't know what else to say it, but I think I can tell with you're enjoying. I could tell this is that type of podcast. It's like I'm high. It's literally like I'm high.
But in a bad way because you're shutting down.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you're in space, like, do you actually like see space, or are you just using it as a metaphor?
It's a metaphor.
Okay, so in reality, like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't deal with anybody anymore. I'm shutting down. Like, what does it look like? Is it just blackness and you just drop to the ground?
Things are moving around. I'm in my own head. It's like it's like knocking on the door. You open the door, no one's home.
And then are you just like fading in and out of just like consciousness? Like, what?
That's the best way to describe it. I'm pretty much out. They open the door, but the lights are shut off and no one's home. Everyone may be asleep even. I mean, it's the best way I can describe it for you, buddy.
So when you're in that zone, do you have thoughts? Are you conscious enough to understand what's going around? Do you have distorted voices? Like, do you hear things or see?
No, if you're talking to me, it's just want.
Okay, so everything gets distorted in a sense where it's just unintelligible and it's just noise.
Yep.
Master Yoda chimed in here and said, would you say it's like an out-of-body of experience, or maybe the opposite of that, more like an intro body experience where you're kind of closing yourself off from exterior situations?
I would actually say
stimulation.
It's a combo. 50% of out of body, 50% of the intro where I'm trying to avoid overstimulation.
Now, what brings you back? Like, how do you come out of it?
The way I come out of it is just really on my own time. And the way I come out of it is I try to escape the trigger almost. So if it's mom and dad, grandma, grandpa talking to me, I'm getting away from those guys. I'm going to go to Uncle Robin.
It's like, I know what? I'm done hearing from you guys. Who else is here? Anybody else want to talk? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it's just us four and there's crickets in the room because I might be going talking to a cricket.
Hey, they might chime in, right?
Yeah, literally.
That's funny. So, with that being said, let's see here. Do you feel like mental health conversations are moving in the right direction or not fast enough?
It's kind of both. They're in the right direction, but still not fast.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, it's yes on the right direction, no on not fast enough.
And what do you think needs to be carried to the front of the line the fastest during these conversations?
I think that we need to talk about really how we handle it. Because sometimes these people don't know what to do with their mental health issues. I mean, there's so much more resources that people are missing. And they get stuck in a box. They do therapy, didn't do anything for them. They do behavioral therapy, didn't do anything for them. They take medicine, didn't do anything for them. They're lost. They don't know what to do. And no one should have to feel like that mentally.
Would you say that it's just a part of adolescence and, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but for instance, when I was younger, I felt lost. I lacked purpose. I almost killed myself when I was younger. No, it's actually a great thing. I built a platform later in my life on mental health, and now I get to speak to survivors and people all the time in very diverse groups.
Yeah. Well, the apologies is more for awareness because it for me, and this is just the person I am, it bothers me that people feel they feel so bad about themselves. They think a knife to the heart is the right answer.
Well, and I would encourage.
And that breaks me. I mean, that's just the type of person I am.
Well, I would encourage to think about a short-term decision for not a necessary forever problem. But when you go back to being lost, where do you think loss gets created? Because, I think a lot of people feel lost, whether they have autism or not. Where do you think in your expertise where people might fall off in life?
In our own minds.
Ooh, okay.
Because, okay, in our brains, we talk to people, but we kind of know the answer already.
Yep.
I talked to my grandma Nellie. She knows I know what she's going to say. She's going to be too gruff about it. But Grandpa Mark knows what I'm going to do too. He's going to be too nice about it. But then we have Uncle Willie, who is going to beat around the bush about it. I'm lost. I don't know one to talk to. Where else am I supposed to go? In my mind, I'm lost because I know the answers to everybody's opinion. And it's not going to be, not what I want to hear, but it's going to be something that's not helpful. Where else do I go?
Well, I guess in a sense, this is where mentors, like life coaches.
But even our mentors, maybe they're going to be too truthful. And in that moment, I don't want to be truthful right now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying maybe down the line, okay, we can be truthful. But right now, no. Bad time to be truthful. Bad timing. Very bad timing.
Let's talk about being truthful. Why is this bad timing, and what holds it back, and what would set you free?
Well, I think realistically, the truth does hurt sometimes, and I think
100%.
we need to be told the truth. And sometimes I've told the truth at the wrong moment.
I can attest to that. I think when you're honest, anytime you tell the truth is the wrong moment for somebody, like you said, that doesn't want to hear the truth. So, regardless if it's Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, if you don't want me to hear that you need to mow your lawn, any day that I say you're going to need to mow your lawn is going to piss you off because you don't want to do it. Right.
But I also feel like at some point you need to be told the truth, because after a week, you need to mow the lawn. Come on.
So in your personal life, where has truth really set where the rubber meets the road, and where you kind of had to man up and be like, listen, I don't want to accept this, but I have to accept this?
Well, I mean, it kind of happened. I can tell a story. I don't want to reveal names, but college had happened. I mean, there was someone who I became very close with, and I wanted so bad to go hang out with this person outside the campus. I could tell from this person how this person was. It wasn't going to happen. So I had to come to the realization that this isn't going anywhere. I'm going to have to break it off with you. And to this day, it's one of the decisions I regret. Because I should have been, in my opinion, more accepting of how this person is and this person's trust issues. And I should have seen there's a reason why. I should have been more accepting. Like, okay, you know what? I was being selfish. I'm sorry. And it did happen, but it was too late.
Well, it's unfortunately the game of love. You can't get everybody you want to fall in love with you. But when you look at truth, you said that I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to confront it. Why, as somebody who seems to be very aware subconsciously and consciously, why is it something that you're still hiding from? Like,
well, I definitely confront the truth, but it's just that sometimes I'll be too truthful and not hold back a little bit. I mean, we've heard the term firm but fair, right? Where you tell the truth, but you do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist for me.
So you're like me. I like to run my mouth.
It's like Gordon Ramsay telling you to fuck off.
Yeah. And he's right, because he's the expert. So in a way, it's kind of like, I totally get it. But besides that factor, how else do you define a way forward?
The way I move forward is I pretty much just, with that instance, for example, I just swallow the pill and come to terms. It's not going to happen. Move along. Because if I stay stuck, I'm going to drown it for a huge amount of time. And I shouldn't be drained on this problem for the amount of time. That incident, I dreaded on for a week. I should have dreaded that on for that incident for a week. I should have maybe like, oh, this ain't going to work. And then go along the next day. Not go, oh, this ain't going to work for a whole week.
And just out of curiosity, how'd you know it wasn't going to work?
I could just tell because of just the trust issues this person had. We were beating around the bush, and I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. You're in or you're out.
It's like, you are in or you are fucking out.
Yep.
That is hilarious. I think that's like when I choose a friend next time, I'd be like, listen, so I need to ask you a serious question. Are we friends? Because you are either in or you are out.
Yeah.
And then just
I'm
out of here.
I'll tell you this too. I didn't do that in school. When I would see that a friendship could happen and would go out, but it wasn't going to work, and we would become in school friends, I don't do that. I hate that.
That doesn't give me anything.
And that's exactly
You
why.
are your friend.
There's no satisfaction. I mean, I had to deal with that, but for the longest time, I thought, no, because what you're doing isn't reasonable, in my opinion. If we're friends, you should make time for us outside of where we met.
Yeah, if you're friends and you value somebody, you'll make time for them, whether it's calling them or seeing them or, interacting with them in some way. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was why for the majority of my school career, up until senior year, I was fine with it because I didn't care about the drama anymore. I didn't do in-school friends. I didn't do on-campus friends for the most part.
So moving forward, how do you, let's say like you find somebody to, hang out with and be friends with, how does that build and affect your trust? Now that you had this negative experience, are you hung up on this experience or are you open?
No. No.
Okay.
With friends in particular, I'm very more slow when it comes to some people.
That's fair. Yeah.
I know it takes time, but the problem is sometimes I want it to pace up a little bit, speed it up. And I come to terms that's not how it works. I mean, it's not all the time the way friendships were built, where you guys talk a little bit, where you met, you see you hit it off well, you go to a small place like your friends for dinner, and then maybe go somewhere bigger like the arcade. That's not all the way it happens all the time, and I've come to terms with that. It happens naturally.
Yeah. No, I've learned that too. I like you have a lot of similarities with friends. I have a problem of coming off too strong, and I like you. I'm a speedier person. I'm like, all right, if we're gonna be friends, let's just get with the friendship. Let's go. Let's hang out. Let's do whatever we're gonna do. We're friends. Blah blah blah. And you are right. Not everybody moves at the speeds that other people do, and it does affect relationships. And
right.
It can
and
make
I came to
difficult.
terms. There's a reason why. This is how it affects me to this day. There's a reason I want to ask someone out. You want to talk. You want to ask. I think it's only fair that I made kind of a rule where if you want to go out with me, you need to ask me. And it's not trying to be selfish. It's because of just that shows interest. And the fact that you showed interest in me says something.
Now, on the flip side, how does the other person know that you're interested if you're waiting? What if you waited forever and they really did like you and they were actually waiting for you to ask them, but you never did?
That because I can't. I literally cannot do that because I sweat, I choke, I get scared, and it's very fearful. But the fact that I feel like you need to do it because that shows interest in me. If you're not going to do it, that's not my fault. You weren't brave enough. I mean, I'm a very open guy. I'm not the type of person who's not going to go to Outback Steakhouse with you if you didn't ask. I mean, I'm very open. I'll tell you how it is. But the answer is going to likely be yes. I'm not that hard of a guy to get along with.
So when you said you get scared, you get scared of what? Just the interaction and talking to somebody on like an intimate level and asking them out. Okay, you have such
because my friend get filed for sexual harassment. Part of it.
Well, I mean, if you just say, "Hey, you want to go out with me," and they say no, I don't think you're going to get sexual harassment. If you say something weird during asking,
and
them
that's
to
what I'm
do
afraid of. Bingo. it comes across as weird, and I didn't mean for it to be.
Well, okay, give me a statement that you think came across as weird, and I'll tell you what I think about it.
Oh gosh, let me think. Let me think here. I know I've done it before. It's just I can't think of one off the top of my head. Probably because I didn't do a lot. Probably because I didn't do a lot of it during school time or during college. Well, it came out naturally, but it was like there's one person I wanted to go out with because his friend and I at the time span were talking about it. Who? You. And that's where then it was a no, but that was what I said.
Who, you?
Well, it was more of the person asked who, then I said you.
But how would that equal being reported for sexual?
That was one of the few ones that went well. For example, there's just been some that have gone off the bat, and I just can't remember when.
So let me ask you a question.
I thought one.
Okay.
I was trying to make friends, and the socialization went off. But she showed me something. I was trying to make a joke by doing an Australian accent. It didn't go well. There's your example for you.
Okay. I have a question. My question is this. You seem like a very confident person in some aspects where you're very defined line, either in or out, blah, blah, blah. But
I wasn't always like that. I was not always like that.
Okay, but listen, but you also have a side of you that's fearful, that isn't filled with confidence. Where do you think that gap comes when it comes to relationships? Because that's tonight, the only time that you talked about, being like scared or off-putting, other than like temperature changing of the room, is with relationships and talking to people. I'd love to know where all of that changes, because it's almost like your personality kind of shifts from being very yes to this to being I don't know how to handle this. This is nervous.
Well, there's a difference with socialization between men and women. Mostly men, they don't play the games. Women, they play games, I call it. Well, they'll leave you hanging for a little bit, right? Or they'll not talk to you. And they're trying to beat around the bush by saying, I don't want to be your friend, yada, 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 yada. Men are straight to the point. That's how my brain operates, straight to the point. I mean, I wish every female could say, I don't want to go out with you.
Well, most of them will tell you that if they don't want to.
Not with my experience. They either beat around the bush, they left me to hang and dry pretty much, or they would act interested and then fiddle me out after a while.
Where do you think the fiddling out comes from? What would change somebody's interest level in you to nothing?
I think it was just a female brain at the time span. I mean, I was in school at the time span when it was going down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a female brain acting like that, and just the fact that my brain, they're stupid. There's no point of playing those games. Get to the point, move along.
Do you do that because you're afraid of the hurt in between? So you want it to be fast and painless, kind of like ripping off a Band-Aid. I'd rather just find out that you don't want to date me and just keep moving on, or I want to find out that you do and just keep moving on. I just don't want to linger where my emotions could possibly get hurt.
It could be. I don't know 100%. It very well could be.
Well, now that we're on a track together, let's dive into that a little bit. Like, what is it? Because I would love to understand, because it's so crazy, because it's like your entire personality shifts when it comes to relationships and trust. And I would love to kind of find out where all of that started, because I think that's something that could really be a benefit to you.
It's because throughout my school life, people have been so cruel to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the type of person who will forgive, but I don't forget. I will not forget.
I'm the same way on that one.
Stabbed back with pencils for absolutely doing nothing, for example, is one example for you. And what bothered me about that the most, it wasn't the stabbing, it was just being cruel for no reason.
Yeah.
Or getting called dumb ASF for no reason. Now, to be fair, I did promote that one out there. I didn't call myself dumb ASF. It was just it was on that Send It app. I've been odd. It's been odd. I don't really care what people think of me, but I'm also the type of person who likes to know. And what did I get as a response? You're dumb ASF.
And how does that make you feel, especially as somebody that has autism?
I mean, why? My thought is, well, when I got that comment, I brushed it under the rug. But if I was 8 years old, I would have been like, really? Being cruel for no reason. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. I mean, you've been heard the phrase, you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I mean, why would you waste your time calling me that? Shouldn't you have other things to do?
You would think so, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
So besides, I guess what I'm going to is, do you feel like you're limiting yourself by waiting for other people to make a move first?
It very well could be, but it's better than feeling left in the ditch, because I dealt with that too many times in my life. There have been more people, let me put it this way, throughout my entire school life and college life, I definitely kept my friends, but more have done the three ideas, which was fizzle out. They were playing the BS games, I call it, or it was just being around the bush. They fizzled out a little bit, or they just wouldn't give me an answer because they were too nice to it. And I just don't like that. That's just not in my DNA. My family's very blunt and honest, and we rather hear, I don't like you, versus hanging around trying to say I don't like you. Don't hang that around. Just tell me you don't.
Yeah. So when it comes to being left in the ditch, it seems like you, like me, when I grew up, I was picked on heavily. I didn't have very many friends. And still to this day, I have a few select friends that I keep very close. And then other than that, I'm kind of a loner. I spend most of my time here with my family, and I'm like you.
And that's my problem right there. Now, because of the loneliness and being left in the ditch so much, I have an addiction to making friends.
That's not a bad addiction if you made some really cool friends and somebody's like, hey, come on a boat party, or like, let's go to Paris. Like, it's a pretty good friend.
Right. But now the problem is, like, it kind of judges. It goes from that, making more friends. But then I realized, I have to judge on their character a little bit, because they could be a person who robs a bank.
This guy, I met him the other day, but I swear to God, he was in the newspaper for robbing somebody. I can't remember, but he looks just like that guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, maybe we won't accept all friend requests that we get from people that we don't have any mutual friends with.
And a lot of times, too, with the females that I've dealt with in the adult life, they act like so nice in their scams. I mean, they have a way with pulling you in, and it's like, oh, this is a baloney one. Out you go.
Well, my piece of advice, for what it's worth, and it's probably not worth much, but if somebody truly wants to be with you, they will be with you regardless of what anything anything that would stop them from being with you. They would find a way to move forward. I mean, it's just, I think what you should do is really, my personal 2 cents is to really keep investing in you, and the right person will find you. I experienced that with my wife, Lacey. I always used to worry about finding somebody, you know what I mean? And I've been in a lot of relationships, and like you, I've been burned where it causes insecurity. But, I think the biggest thing that you can focus on is when you just let go and you start saying yes to the right people and no to the wrong people, like you were talking about earlier with setting boundaries, and really kind of make like a task list or something for yourself that's like red flags. And if they get 3 checks, they're done. You don't waste your time on them anymore. It saves you the heartache. And if they check all boxes, then you take the chance. This gives you still the power, because, in tradition and just the way people are, maybe they're waiting for you to ask, and you would never know. And what if you missed an opportunity because you were waiting for the right moment. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's why a moment never comes, because people are waiting for it. You know, if you really want something or to find someone, you know, when you put it into the universe, it may take years, but it usually shows up. And I am testament to that. You're testament to that through your success and what you've done, you know. So I would get that confidence back, and I would really use that to, you know, find whoever it is that you're looking for. That's my 2 cents for you.
All right, I'll try my best to.
You will do, and you're going to do a great job at it. You know what I mean? And you're a great person. You have a great head on your shoulders. You're down to earth. You're a funny guy. You know, there's people would be stupid to not want to be your friend or to get to know you. So I think you're going to do great.
All righty.
Well, Sam, we are at our 2-hour mark, which means this is the end of the podcast. I do want to support you by allowing my audience to know where to find you and how to get connected if they want to with you.
Will do. You can find me on your favorite media platforms. I'm not a hard guy to find. You Google me in your search engine optimization. Something will be there. Just search autismrocksandrolls.com. First thing that pops up.
You're an awesome dude, Sam. I really do enjoy this, and I enjoyed our conversation today, and I really wish you the best. Everybody, again, this Friday, we have Honey on Duty at Always Flavored in Fredericksburg from 6:30 to 8:30. Next Wednesday, we have our Vindec EU Healing the Hustle panel, which is from 6:30 to 8:30 on Wednesday, August 20th. It's been a pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much for being on. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the conversation. We will see you guys next week with more conversations. Peace out, everybody.